Kia ora koutou. Hello, everyone. I'm Paolo Bertolin, Artistic Director of Hanau Marama, New Zealand International Film Festival 2024. We continue this series with the director of interviews with the directors that are presenting their films at the festival by inviting to talk with us one of the directors of the Fresh competition, our newly established competition for first-time narrative films. And we have here director of Viet and Nam, one of the first features that really marked this last edition of the Cannes Film Festival. I'm very glad to have with us Trong Minh Quý. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
And as usual with this series, I would like to start by asking you the question of simply describing to us, introducing to us your film by telling us in your own words what is this film about and what kind of choices you made as a director in presenting it to the audience.
Thank you for inviting the film. Yes. So yeah, it's nice to be here to share a bit about the film. So I think Viet and Nam is my let's say first official narrative fiction film, and the film is quite different from the other films in my past in terms of scale and narrative approach. However, I think the film still share the same link with in my previous films about my interest in how to say this family history, family memories, but in Viet and Nam we can see there is a interconnection, a mix between this family history and the history of the country. So I think that that's the underflow of the film. And so I think now I think when I watch this film again, I may say the film is, for me personally, is a kind of drama about homesickness. It's a melancholia, it's maybe more nostalgia. Even though in the film we see that the character Nam still hasn't left the country yet, but he's preparing for that departure. So it's a nostalgia to come. So yeah, I think for me the theme is about that.
You were talking about family relationships and the wider scope of history. One of the beautiful elements that you play out in your story is the search from one of the two protagonists together with his mother for the remnants, for the bones of his father who died during the Vietnam War. And this search becomes also like some kind of mystery, but it's also, as you probably hinted at, a metaphor for something that has to do with the history of the country. Can you tell us a little bit more about this element in your story? Thank you.
I think the father in this film is we never see him, and I think it's not only one father, it's not only a specific father of the character, but it's the image of the father of let's say of a generation of people who were born without a father. So that's how the father is introduced in the film. It's in itself is somehow symbolic. I can say that, and abstract. So I think the decision not to show any picture or anything of relating about the father of Nam, of the character, is to keep this this meaning of father in the sense of more abstract, because and also I think it has something to do with with the history of many soldiers who fought in the war and then who died, even we don't know where they died, and that is the reason why there are search for their burial places, and that's that's the that's to keep that in the sense of unnamed and unseen. So yeah, that's why we never see Nam's father in the film. We only heard about his story, and in a very mysterious and abstract way. And also, I think the relationship between Nam and his father is, for me, is a metaphor for the relationship between an individual to the history of the country, especially if that history is very complex and unresolved for a very long time, and how to mirror that relationship between a person with the history inside the family relationship of a son to his father. So I think this is one of the core of the film. And also I think this relationship of between Nam and his father is also the reflection of my relationship between me and the history of the country, because there is always something very complex inside me towards all of this narration about the history. So I try to convey that somehow in the film. And I think just a short information for the audience is that about searching for the burial places of the dead soldiers. So I think after the war finished in, let's say, the end of 1970s. So there are still even until now, I think a lot of soldiers whose how you say remains still remains in the battlefield, now has become a city or forest or a farm. And so the families of those soldiers still try by different ways to bring them home. Official ways through military service, or there is the way of searching that through psychic, through spiritual way. And I think that used to be happened more often in the past, let's say 20 years ago, but it still happens now. And the spiritual way of searching for the remnants of the dead person is not only applied to a soldier, but also applied to anybody, even today. And so for me, this is very interesting, because I think eventually what people could find maybe an object which is almost destroyed, or maybe some little pieces of bones, but most of the time there's nothing much left. So I think this is the action of retrieving something in a sense of to having an object, and then to move on with their life, and not to feel, in a sense, not to feel guilty anymore. So I think it's a very beautiful and also very moving, and in that sense.
Indeed, thanks for this answer, Tree. I would like to end this short conversation by asking you something about your approach as a filmmaker, because Viet and Nam, as your previous works, is very, very stylistically precise as a film that has a lot of meticulousness in the work on the image. I think the film is shot on film, but also the soundscape, the way you use sound. So can you please share a few words about your approach? Thank you.
Yeah. I think in terms of image, I continue to shoot this film on super 60mm film because I think it's go well with the concept of the film, how to keep everything in this sense of timelessness. So the story is set in the past, but we don't really know it, or actually even if we know it, it's not really matter anymore. So I think the feeling that the 60mm film can bring to the audience, it helps, because watching the image alone, we may think that this film itself is made like 20 years ago. So that helps. I think the sound is very interesting because the sound in this film is quite is built in a very in a contrast way compared to the image, because the image is in a way very direct, very, let's say, kind of flat. We can see everything happen in one frame, in one limited frame. But then in another sense, we hear a lot of things happen outside of the frame. So I think the concept of using the sound in this film is that we try to build the whole world that outside the frame, and to create that very interesting how you say that when what we see is very limited, but what we hear is very open and mysterious in a way, because we cannot see them. So yeah, we use a lot of the sound of nature, let's say. Also, for example, like we use the sound of the nature to enhance the dramatic effect, which in the image is not there. So I think this is the way of using the sound in this film. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Shui. I think this was very interesting for our audiences, and I hope this will make them even more eager to discover Viet and Nam, and for those who will see it to understand even better the film. I thank you also, the viewers who have followed this interview, and I look forward to seeing them maybe in other such interviews that we will be recording. Thanks again.
Thank you. Yeah, goodbye.